photographs by Bogdan Volníček. The song is by Aneta Langelová, and for those who do not understand Czech, the main message was that there is goodwill that resides in people, and this is our hope. And why Bogdan Volníček? As you understood, the Czech Center in Paris is not hosting one event dedicated to Václav Havel, but creating a series of events. Bogdan Volníček will present an exhibition of his photographs as a friend of the Havel family in Avignon. They will be installed in the municipal library, La Bibliothèque Sicano in Avignon, any day from now. And on the 16th of July, there will be an official opening of his exhibition, which he will attend in person, and we heard from the mayor that he will also be there, the mayor of Avignon. This is the first event, an important event. I would like you to save the date for the vernissage of Bogdan's show. On the same day, so 16th of July, in one of the most respected theaters in Avignon, La Manufacture, we will host a tribute night for Václav Havel, whose name is really connected with that festival. When his plays were unable to be shown in his home country, Avignon oftentimes substituted that and his plays were staged a lot in Avignon, and quite often without him, but for him. So this year, on the 16th of July at 6 p.m., we will host a tribute night at the Theatre La Manufacture. During the tribute night, there will be a play that will be shown for the first time to the public in French translation by Katia Hala. And the National Theatre of Prague, that is a part of this production, will collaborate with us and with an international jury on an award to support courage and freedom, and we will find a laureate that will be a contemporary author that somehow walks in Václav Havel's footsteps. So this is something I would love us to attend together again, and I believe that this will be really a big moment and something that can bring that legacy to contemporary creators who are maybe in a similar situation he was some decades ago. So this is for the announcement. We will host more events here at the Czech Center, 2 more residencies, and I hope that this night will inspire you to come back. And now it's the moment to read from the biography authored by Eda Kriselova, and Brenda and Eda will share an important moment from Václav Havel's life with us. Thank you, ladies.
Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. Do you hear? Do you hear now? No.
We can hear.
Yes?
Yes.
This part and this part now?
Yes.
Is it alright?
Now we can see you.
Yes. Very strange. It came to such coincidence that there was a film of the pictures of Olga, and I'm going to write you a letter which I have written to Václav Havel after reading letters to Olga. And this is about the letters, how I felt about it at that time when it was published for the first time. So it's just strange, it goes together. And Brenda is going to read you the letter. I will only read a part of it, and then Brenda will, in her book, American. She's American.
I'm going to pretend to be Edda.
Yes, so
It's going to take a lot of work.
I think it would be easier for you than to listen to my English. So I just start it and then I pass it to Brenda, who is kind enough to Dear Vašek, on January 11th, 1985, I started to write a letter to Václav Havel, and even at that time the date struck me as a very good one. I no longer remember whether I mailed the letter to him or delivered it by hand. There have only been 2 books by living authors that have inspired me to write a letter to the author as soon as I finished reading them. They were Ludwig Vaculík's The Tcheque Dream Book and Letters to Olga. My letter to Ludwig was later printed in response to the Tcheque Dream Book, and my letter to Vašek appeared in the monthly journal of Tcheque content, which we were publishing in Samizdat at the time. Today, I reread my letter, and it seems to me that I could not now express that letters to Olga means to me, and more exactly than I did then.
Okay. And now I will impersonate Edda and muck up the check. All right. I spent the end of last year and the beginning of this year with your book, and it will remain forever linked with the intense conclusion of 1984 and the liberating start of 1983. As the year ended, everything that had been a hindrance throughout the year and had been overcome with great pains reappeared, and I was forced to confront it. From the beginning, I also had a difficult struggle with your book, Raka. On New Year's Day, I felt relieved, and this is a good sign. It seems to me that this year will be better than the preceding ones, that from somewhere, perhaps from outer space, grace is wafting toward us, even though there is no evidence of this. In fact, the evidence points in the opposite direction. A cleansing, perhaps, as if your book had prefigured it. Perhaps I felt good on New Year's Day because I had already reached the point in the letters when you became more and more relaxed. Before this point, I had to set the book aside several times. I could not stand the tension, which you are able to control by holding down the lid with all your strength. You keep guard over your homesickness, your pain, tears, anger, all your human emotions, and you work at your task, a superhuman, or perhaps inhuman, self-control. The time trickling away tortures you, and because you must somehow make it valuable, you use it by making an experiment on yourself. To share in this experiment was almost too much to bear. And your being in a divided world which slices even you in two. In spirit, you are still outside with those close to you, in places you cherish. You hold on to them tenaciously, and at the same time, you are irreparably and without appeal inside, where it is as if there were nothing. How much time must pass before you begin to leave behind life on the outside, before you free yourself from it, knowing that nothing will take its place? You realize that you are left alone with yourself, a realization that reaches a climax somewhere during the description of your good and bad moods. For me, it was as though you had dug out an eye in front of me, turned it on yourself, and used it as a magnifying glass to scrutinize what is supposed to compensate you for the loss of the whole world. This is not a complaint. The reader must bear what the author bore, or the author allows him to live through his trial. But I have probably never read anything so unbearable by virtue of its absurdity, its horrible and painful senselessness. Yet, through it, we teach the meaning. It is a cleansing thing to read. Your demands on yourself and your frankness force people to bring that I near themselves and inspect whether or not they are slipping into existence in the world, whether or not they are lying about themselves or about others. After that failure, it is as if your eyes were suddenly opened. Your meditations become more and more consistent and brilliant. And suddenly, all your reflections revolve around the meaning of life and of the absolute horizon. Until it seems to me that some higher power is governing you, a power that returns you inexorably and logically to the place where you ended or from where you escaped, and forces you to start over again. You cannot certainly remember what you wrote a year or two before. I remember that once during a visit with Vendukla, I'm going to mess up this name, and Vendukla Halufnuba, you said that you seemed to be a medium through whom certain messages were channeled. You know Havel was a medium. You return to your experience of unity with the absolute horizon, and this forms the central image and the summit of your meditations. You describe this feeling, if it is a feeling, beautifully. It is almost unbearable. I had this experience for the first time undeservedly. At age 19, and later I learned how to return to it. All the same, however, I cannot manage to remain in this state. Each of us must hit rock bottom and stand up again several times in the course of our lives. It has to be this way for us, unless we step beyond the limits, aims, and rights of our existence in the world, which, to the extent that we are able to realize them and fulfill our ideas, definitely prevent us from finding our identity once and for all. The threshing will purify us until we are all grain, no chaff. At good times, it seems to me that life itself lives through me, that I cannot influence it much, and as long as it flows freely, it is good. But when, out of my own limited will, I lay some impediment before it, when I long for something and want it, I am badly off. Everything in your book speaks to me. The dispute carried out in its pages does not permit the reader to give up. It holds onto him tightly. The dispute between the head and the body, or the soul and the body. Intellectuals often feel that the soul is in the head. In his introduction to Stendhal's essay on love, Arthur Brisky wrote that men are, quote, mothers of their brains, close quote. And he felt this applied to Stendhal, who wrote about love with his head and was an analyst of love. Just so. The head produces thought. It wants to have everything named, appraised, and explained. And the soul, which sits condemned in the head, dreams about mystery, which the misunderstanding refuses to allow to come true. Perhaps the experience of God is the experience of the whole body and with the head. I say perhaps because you work toward contact with the absolute horizon by means of thinking. By rational reflection, you attempt to master the irrational. It is a difficult route, and it shows that it is possible, that there are many paths. If I think about Einstein, perhaps reached God through calculation, and Ladislaus through drink. Some of us also reach God through drugs. Do you know, not me, and not Ellen either, do you know what I am sorry about? That several times you use as a point of departure a meteorologist caught by surprise when the sound fails on television, or the question of whether to pay the fare on an empty streetcar at night. I wonder why you do not draw from the life that must be colorful, noisy, and pressing all around you, yet you seem not to notice it. Perhaps you're not allowed to write about it. Aha! You may not, you say. And perhaps it is also not appropriate to write home about these people who are exposed and powerless before you, and yet you have the privilege that you know how to write. Writers often behave immorally toward the people closest to them, toward those who are naked before them. In your writing, everything is filtered through a screen of modesty and refinement, even when you write about your bodily functions. If you could write what you choose for as long as you wanted, perhaps the tension of the unspoken would disappear. This tension that gives the book space and purity from which nothing can be pared away. Letters to Olga, like the Tcheque Dream Book, is an event in the life of Czech literature. Everyone is talking about it and wants to read it. Makes me very happy. It has also occurred to me that my beloved philosophy has found a way to return to life. Almost no one reads philosophy today. People don't have time. But if meditations come with the exciting packaging of a famous writer in prison, then they read them. And maybe they understand what they would not have understood from Heidegger or any of those other so-called philosophers. What may seem to you to be naive and unoriginal philosophizing plays a part whose impact is, I hope, beyond our estimation. The revelation of the truth has often reached people by means of those whom they consider to be martyrs. This book, therefore, is important, and when I imagine that it stands on bookshelves besides the obscene and bloody novels which people revive their frozen instincts and passions, then there is still some chance, some hope for this world. If only people began to consider meditation, reflection as their salvation, as you were driven to in prison. I'm afraid even to think about it. I want to thank you for wanting me to share your trial with you, and for writing so well and so candidly that I believe everything you said. As I write, I'm aware of the horrible concreteness of words. Every word ought to have shifting meaning that begets new meaning. But I'm afraid that soon there will be no words that have meaning that do not depend directly on experience. What will happen to philosophy without the experience of loss and without solitude? And can there be such a thing as art in which life is not what matters? I pray, Vaclav, that in all your actions, the strength that fills your letters will sustain you. And so has written Ada Pusiu.